Hello guys, this is my first video in Java. So in this first lecture we would go for introduction of Java, and we would come to know about that why Java actually, why should we learn Java. After why we will move to the how part, how we would go to learn Java, what are the things required to learn Java. Firstly, Java, what is Java actually? Java is a technology. Actually, Java is a technology. Most of us says that this is a programming language, but Java is a technology. So, what we require to learn this technology? My question to you that what are the basic things that you require to learn Java? Now, first thing is that you should be very much punctual about the studies. Whatever you are learning, you should be very much careful. You should not skip a single concept in Java. Otherwise, that could lead a great harm in future for you. So Java, what is Java actually? We come on the part. After that, we will discuss that thing. So Java is the object-oriented programming language. Most of us knows that Java is object-oriented programming language. Now, object-oriented programming language is do not belong to any particular language. It just a programming approach which contains the description and basically have the three main features. In OOPS we have three main features. The first one is the polymorphism, the second one is the encapsulation, and the third one is the inheritance. So these are the main features of OOPS, and the full form of OOPS is object oriented programming system. So this is a approach. If I would like to explain it with a real world example, so I will take example of a recipe book. Oops is nothing but it's like a recipe book. In that particular recipe book we have so many ideas to make a delicious dish. We have so many ideas there. Similarly, in this approach OOPS we have lots of ideas to make our program better, to write a code in a better way, and we can use most of the things via OOPS so that our programs could be more effective, more optimized, and of course that can be able to correlate with the real world things, real world objects. Now, what are these real world objects? Now, I'm going towards these real world objects. If I talk about a object, what is object actually? Object is a real world entity, anything that which we observe, which we touch, which we feel actually. That's a object. Like a table, a fan, Taj Mahal, a human being. A human being is an object. Yes, I am an object. An object could be a living being or a non-living being. So, if we want to make an employee management system with the help of Java, then we should actually approach to a good way. That is OOPS, object oriented programming system. With the help of OOPS we can easily make real world objects, real world things we can correlate between. So if I took example of employment management system, if my client if my client ask me about that, you should make an employment management system in which uh, you should have address of employee, name of employee, salary of employee, then I will use OOPS approach to make such a thing. I can use another approach also. I can use, but this is a very good approach, OOPS approach. Now I would like to actually compare this OOPS approach and another approach. Before that, we will came to know about what are those language which follow this OOPS approach. So there are many languages rather than Java. There are many languages like C sharp, like C++, and so on. These are all the language actually follow the OOPS concept. So Java is not only the one who really follows the OOPS approach, but there are many other languages which are actually working on OOPS. Now a question is arise in the mind that we should learn Java at this time or not. Is it a good time to learn Java, or we can go for another language at this time? This is a very hypothetical question, because uh, if I if I go for a market scenario nowadays, then you will find most of the companies are working on Java. So what is the main objective to work on Java? Of course, Java is a popular language. Java is so popular. Most of the projects are on Java nowadays. So, what is the future of Java? Some students are in a big confusion. They are very much confused about their careers. That either they choose Java or they choose some other languages. So I am going to tell you about Java. Guys, according to me, Java will also be in future. But nowadays we have languages like different languages. So these languages can be modified nowadays. Rather than Java, these other languages or a new languages can came in the market, which can lead the Java work. Definitely. Before that, we will discuss this thing in another tutorial, where I will also explain you the present alternative of Java, and the work is same as Java done. But we should be very much clear that if somebody learn Java, he or she can learn any language easily, following any language is if any language following the OOPS concept. So they are very much, they would be very much familiar about that all things in another language also. So now I want to discuss something else. So I would like to explain something about polymorphism. Polymorphism is one of the features of OOPS. Now, what is polymorphism? So basically, polymorphism means when a object performs different behavior in different circumstances, means different behavior in the different circumstances, in different condition. Object is same, but the behavior of that particular object is changing according to the condition. Now the best example of polymorphism is student. Now this particular student is a person. That particular student, either a boy or a girl, he or she is a person. Now this particular individual is different at home. The behavior of this particular individual is different when he is or she is at home, and when this particular student go to the college or go to the school, in front of teacher, his or her behavior is quite different. Now this is the best example of polymorphism. Now the person is same, but the behavior is changing. In front of parents, behavior is different. In front of teacher, behavior is different. In front of friends, behavior is quite different. So this is a best example of polymorphism. So the object is same, but the behavior is changing. Behavior is changing according to different conditions. Either he or she is in college or in school, or he or she is at home or in playground with their friends. So the behavior is changing, guys. So this is the best example of polymorphism. Now I would take some different example. Like if I talk about Prime Minister of India, current Prime Minister, Mr. Shri Narendra Modi. So the Narendra Modi, he was earlier Chief Minister of Gujarat. Now he is Prime Minister. Now the position is changed from CM to PM, but person is same. Mr. Narendra Modi is the same person, but position is changing. So the behavior is also changing with that position. Earlier he used to work, he he was having the power of a chief minister. Now he have the power of prime minister. So the behavior is changing now, and the person is same. Now another example of polymorphism is air conditioner. Air conditioner used to work as a cooler in summer and used to work as a heater in winter. But air conditioner is same. Air conditioner is same, guys. So I hope you guys like that. So before going ahead, I would like to tell something about that what is the requirement of these languages? Why do we require? What is the need of programming languages? Now this is a very much important question to understand for the beginners. So before programming language, software were developed in zeros and one format, or any kind of work was done by the combination of zeros and one, which is very hard to remember, debug or modify. So before these all the programming language, all the softwares were developed in the zeros of one format, or any kind of work was done with the help of these combination of zeros and one. If I if you have learned something about microprocessor or microcontroller, then you are familiar about these all things, how actually a processor understood. Processor also always understood in zeros and one form. Now this was a problem that it was hard to remember, debug or modify that particular combination of 0 and 1. So this was a problem, and all the research peoples who were actually doing R&D on these things, so they were thinking about a language. So at that time some different languages started to came in the market. I'm talking about the history of the languages, like B language, C language, after C++, most of the languages. So I will explain Java, I will compare Java with C language. So C is the mother of all the language. If somebody is quite comfortable with C language, he or she can easily learn any of the language of the world. So guys, be motivated, and if you think that you haven't studied any language up till now, then I can make you sure that I will help you to learn any of the language in this world, and you would be very much comfortable when you are explaining certain things towards anyone. So firstly, I will compare C language with the Java. So C language actually follow a PPA approach, procedure programming approach, and Java follow object oriented programming approach. So guys, what is this PPA approach? This is very much important. So I will explain it afterwards. Now C is what? C language is the master blaster language. C is the mother of all the languages. C C is the language which is very much important. To even today, C language is very much popular for different works. Like we can make drivers with the help of C language. But after so much popularity, there are some drawback of C language. Like I tell you about C language that it followed PPA approach. Guys, I will also tell you what is PPA approach in my other lectures. Now today I will tell you about C language is not much secure language, because in C we actually follow a pointer concept. So that pointer concept leads to the hack of that particular code. Hackers can easily hack the code because of that pointer concept in C language. But in Java there is no pointer. In Java we don't have actually the address. Instead of pointer, instead of name for a data location, we will use to prefer a reference ID in Java. We would make a reference ID of particular object. I know that you are not comfortable to understand all these things right now, because we are in the beginning of the Java language. But I assure you that in future definitely you would be very much comfortable about these all things. So guys, I think you would be fine if I personally ask you that how are you. Then most of you are college student, those who are watching my videos. So I appreciate you all that your mind is so much dedicated that you are searching to learn some of the languages. Guys, I'm telling this thing to you because in future we have lots of scope to learn these all languages. If I talk about AI, if I talk about different things in future, that would be a future goal. You guys, in after 20 years you would realize what is important all this language. And if somebody is a good coder, he or she can write code easily. I salute them. If someone is very good coder, after these all lecture I will also give some lecture on programming, how to write the program, and how can easily we can develop our logic. That is important, guys. So now come on the topic. I was on C language. Now before explaining or comparing C language with Java, I would like to explain translator. So guys, when you notice this term translator, what your mind actually force you to think about translator? Guys, we will explain it firstly with a normal term. Like translator means anything that converts anything, any tool that converts anything, any language that can translate. If I took example of a translator, if there are two prime minister of different countries, if I took example real world example of our prime minister of India, Narendra Modi, he used to speak in Hindi. He used to he prefer Hindi language. And the prime minister of if I took example of president of USA, he prefer English language, Mr. Donald Trump. So Mr. Narendra Modi is comfortable with Hindi, and Mr. Donald Trump is comfortable with English. Now they both require a translator to communicate their words, to communicate between them. We require a translator. So the guys require a translator to understand each of other words, whatever somebody is telling in his language. So the guys require translator there to actually understand that particular language, Hindi either English. So in any of the language we also have translator, that is our compiler. Compiler is nothing, guys. It is just like a software. Guys, this compiler, what do this is a very big thing. Compiler is not a small thing, guys. Everything is depend upon the compiler. Compiler actually converts our source code into the machine code. We always know this thing. In C language, this compiler used to convert the source code into the machine code. So the guys main thing is that when we create a machine code of a language, it creates an environment, and that machine code will execute in that particular environment. Now what we will do, we will convert that source code into the machine code. Now this machine code require a particular environment to execute. Okay guys, so two things actually there: compilation and execution, or we call it as run, to run the program. Now I am having another example of translator. suppose suppose I am a person, and I have to work at a time. I have to work at a time, and I am a single individual person. Now what I want, the first work is that I have to go to my friend to help him. I have to go to there at where is my friend is calling me, at that place where is my friend. Either I should go to the bank to deposit my bank draft at same time. So at same time I have to go to both the places. And guys, I also have a servant at my home. So I decide to go to my friend because he's my best friend to help him out instead of going to the bank. And I prefer that I will go, I will deal with another work. I will not deal with other work. My servant will deal with the second work, or I will order my servant to do the second work, that to go to the bank and deposit my draft. But my servant is a South Indian. My servant is South Indian. He is very much good in South Indian language. He used to speak in he is South Indian, so he used to speak in Tamil, Telugu. He is very much comfortable with Tamil and Telugu, and I am not comfortable with Tamil and Telugu. I only comfortable with Hindi or English. So I require a translator to convey my message to him that you should go to the bank and deposit my draft. So this is very much important example of explaining the translator. What is the work of a translator, guys? So I hope you understand all these things. Now, guys, main thing is that a question arises in your mind always. Why Java? Why? What is the need of Java? There are lots of people in the world who are working on Java madly. Why Java, guys? This is a good question. So I want to tell you something at initial level. Why Java? Afterwards, we will discuss some features of Java. So guys, all the software development company, all the software development company has its own operating system, and machine code vary according to operating system, because some operating system actually loads its nibble. Yeah, nibble. Nibble means, guys, always you know about the byte or bit. You are familiar with the bit or byte concept. So 2 bit and 4 byte. Okay, 4 byte, 2 bit, 1 bit, 1 byte. You are very much familiar about these things. So that what is a nibble actually? You will learn this thing, a new thing today. Nibble is a combination of 4 bit. So there are different companies we have who used to work in different way. They have their own operating system, guys, and they use different ways of loading the code. Some of the companies use byte system, some of the companies use bit system, some of the companies use nibble system. So guys, nibble is the combination of 4 bit. So main thing is that all these companies have different operating system. So when we are working on a project, and if I am using C language or C++ language, that are not platform independent. C or C++ are platform dependent language. Platform dependent means, guys, a language whose compiler can't work on every operating system. This is the particular definition of platform dependent. So guys, C and C++ are not platform independent. That's why this is a big drawback of C and C++. Their code can't run. Their code can't run on every operating system. But Java, now the popularity of Java start. Why Java is so popular? So the Java code can run on any operating system. Either it is Windows, Linux, or a Mac operating system, guys. So the Java code can run on any operating system. So guys, now we will make a quick difference between all these operating system. So I am taking most famous 3 operating system. One is Windows from Microsoft, another is Linux, and of course Mac OS. So guys, I want to differentiate between them at initial level. So Windows is a operating system that is very much user friendly. It is easy to implement. Whatever you want to do, you can do easily on Windows operating system. But Windows is not so good graphically, not so good compared to iOS, and Windows is also not so good as we took example of Linux. Linux is quite secure. Windows is not much secure, guys. You earlier it was uh, virus, ransomware. Okay, so you are. I know that some of you are very much familiar about the security hacking incident of Windows. I know that, and I hope so, guys. So now I took example of Linux. Linux is quite secure. Nobody can match the security of Linux. Even we can't compare any of these two or other operating system with the security of Linux. It is quite secure. It is quite difficult to hack the code which is written in Linux. But also there are some drawback. It is very hard to use. Linux is not user friendly. If some of you who are working on Linux, they are very much familiar that we should be very much addicted to use terminal. If we are using Linux, we have to be very much practiced on the terminal, then we can work on Linux easily. If a person who is not belong to the world of computer, he will learn the window in one day, window operating system, and even after many months, after 6 to 7 months, he will not even remember a single command of Linux. He or she couldn't remember the single command of Linux. It is very hard to use. Yeah, I know that now they decided to provide a good GUI, so that can be, they are trying to make it user friendly. But as compared to Windows, it is not much user friendly. Now I took example of Mac operating system. So Mac operating system is very interesting operating system. Mac operating system is used to make graphical designs. It is very much good to make graphics for animation movies, graphics for games. It is very much good, very much excellent software. Or I took called it a excellent operating system in computer world, Mac OS. But also it is not much secure. It is also hard to use. Or we have to buy, we have to purchase some software for Mac also, if we are using Mac operating system. Now guys, I want to discuss something about this machine code actually. Guys, machine code is platform dependent. Okay guys, this machine code is platform dependent. It is not independent, guys. Any of the language, this machine code is platform dependent. So guys, platform dependent means this is not similar for all the operating system. This machine code vary from one operating system to another operating system, and it is quite difficult to reconvert machine code into the source code. It is quite difficult task. If I took example of C language, so guys, this particular machine code is platform dependent. That's why all the programming language need specific environment to run and compile. So all the language need a specific environment to run and compile, because this particular machine code is platform dependent, and that's why we require different compiler and different interpreter for different operating system. So this is very much important to understand what is actually the machine code, guys. Now the main thing of Java, we actually started as father of Java, Mr. James Gosling. He is an excellent man. James Gosling is excellent, and I want to appreciate their team that they guys actually makes a language which is a platform independent language. I remember some of the name of James Gosling team was like Edward Frank and Chris Avith it was, Adapter Norton. So these all the members of the Green Project, actually I think so. Green Project. They were working on the Green Project, and at that time a problem, the same problem was there that uh, the compiler was not platform independent, it was platform dependent. So the problem was that they require different compiler for different operating system. Now what James Gosling decided, so Mr. James Gosling actually decided James Gosling decided to make a language which is a platform independent language, means write once and run anywhere. So that was the slogan of James Gosling team, that they decided to make a language which can write once and can run anywhere. So guys, now we will discuss some key points of Java actually. So guys, Java is a internet programming language. So guys, internet programming means the language whose whatever we do in Java, so that can be easily upload and download from internet or to internet. Java has a unique compiler to run on any operating system or any kind of software made in Java. Java compiler uh, cannot be compared with other compilers. It is quite difficult if we compare Java compiler, because Java compiler is a unique compiler. So Java compiler is used to convert the source code into the byte code. Now a new term introduced. That new term is the byte code. Now this byte code is further converted into the machine code. So this uh, Java compiler is used to convert the source code into the byte code instead of the machine code. This is a big concept of Java, guys. I want to make you crazy about that. You should be very much focused whatever I am saying right now. Right now, guys. Right now. Now just open your eyes, open your ears, whatever I am saying to you. So Java compiler is used to convert the source code into the byte code instead of the machine code. In the old languages like C or C++, we were having the compiler only, and this compiler is used to convert the source code into the machine code. Now in Java we have two things, one is compiler and one is interpreter. So this compiler will convert our source code into the byte code, and this interpreter will further convert our byte code into the machine code. This is the main thing, guys, I want to tell you. So main thing is that now we will uh, do some R&D on the bytecode. What is this bytecode actually? Bytecode is the intermediate file between the source and the executable. Between our source code and the machine code, if I to example, it is an intermediate file. So it's just like a shorthand notes. It's just like a shorthand notes. If I took example, real world example, when a reporter go to a politician or a cricketer or a actress for an interview, so whatever the speech or interview is given by the politician, actress or cricketer, that particular reporter is used to write something on his or her notepad. Whatever she bring with her, that short notes copy. So she used to write all these things uh, in her language actually, in her language. So that's a shorthand copy actually, shorthand. So that's a shorthand language which is understood by only her. that particular reporter. So so it's just like a shorthand language. Bytecode is just like a shorthand language used to write the minister's speech by the press reporter. It's just like a shorthand language. In Java there are in Java there are some keywords. Now the main thing is that keywords. Guys, I know you are very much familiar about the keywords. Keywords is something else. It's like a tool. Keywords. It's like a term. Keywords. Keywords are tools, terms. We can say that. So in Java there are some keywords, and each of which is stored in the form of sign. Now the identity of these all keywords is a sign. Sign is what? Sign could be identity card. It's an identity card actually. Sign. Like if I took example of India, in India there are lots of parties like BJP, Congress, BSP, and of course Samajwadi Party. I think so. Guys, these all the parties have different signs. So these are the identity. Like some of have the lotus sign, some of have hand sign, some of having elephant or a bicycle. So there are many parties in our country, India. So this byte code actually contains the small signs, small symbols or signs used to express the identity of something. So in Java we have different keywords, and each of which is stored in the form of signs. Bytecode contains the small symbols, and each symbol takes a 1 byte. So this bytecode actually contains a small symbol, and this each symbol takes 1 byte. Now the name is that we should be very much focused on the name. Name is byte, then code. There are two words, byte and code. Byte code. So byte means 1 byte. So the bytecode contains the small symbol, and each symbol takes a 1 byte to store itself on a hard disk. So that's why it has code the name bytecode. It takes 1 byte for each of the symbol. Okay, guys. So we would recall whatever we have studied right now. So the Java compiler is used to convert the source code into the byte code instead of the machine code. This is main important thing. Now we would like to understood what actually happens after compilation. Now this particular compiler is used to compile the code. So after compilation, what actually happens? This compiler makes a .class file which contains the bytecode of source program. Now this compiler is used to make a .class file which contains the bytecode of source program. Now this .class file, what we are doing? We are writing some code, and we are compiling the code. Now what is going in backside? What is actually going backside? This compiler is used to make a .class file, and this .class file actually contains the bytecode. Bytecode is inside that .class file. Bytecode of what? Now the question is that bytecode of what? Bytecode of the source program. Whatever the source program was. So that is the bytecode of that particular source program, which is inside the .class file. Okay. And guys, this bytecode is platform independent. This is main thing, guys. It can run on any operating system. This bytecode is platform independent. We can run this bytecode on any operating system. Now guys, this is very much important to understand actually. Now this bytecode can easily be decompiled. We can also decompile this particular code. We are having some decompiler like DJ compiler, but main question is that is we can decompile the byte code, or we can get the source code again. Is it possible, guys? Is it really possible? Earlier it was not possible actually. Earlier we were restricted to some of the tools. Now we have lots of tools. We can decompile the whole source code. We can get it back. We can get back the source code from the bytecode easily. But earlier, what happened, guys? Earlier, when we used DJ compiler, like earlier version actually, so we will get some extra thing add on with our source code, like constructor and interface. I would explain you constructor in my other lectures. What is constructor and interface? This is just the introduction only. So guys, earlier it was not decompile 100%. It used to decompile the code only 50% earlier. That was a percentage criteria. Now machine code of a Java program is never saved on hard disk. This is important question, guys. Machine code of a Java program never saved on hard disk. It is always converted on flight dot in Java. Now guys, this is very much important. This machine code never saved on the hard disk. It is always converted into the flight dot in Java. Now guys, we have gone through the introduction, some of the introduction of Java, and we also learn about the Java compiler. And now after compiler, we should learn about another thing, which is interpreter. Because I told you earlier that in Java we require two things: compiler to convert the source code into the bytecode, and the interpreter to convert the bytecode into the machine code. Now guys, what Java actually do to make an interpreter, guys? So guys, question is that bytecode is compatible to the RAM or not? Now guys, what is the concept of RAM? RAM is a random access memory. Now this random access memory is actually important memory. Every processor do some processing in RAM only. So something, if some code is stored on RAM, then processor do some processing over the code. Now question is that, is this bytecode is compatible with RAM or not? No guys, this bytecode is not compatible to the random access memory. That's why we are restricted to use it directly. Now we should convert that bytecode into the machine code, because machine code can be saved easily on the RAM. Now main thing is that what we require actually, because what we require to convert that bytecode into the machine code, guys, we require a virtual environment, we require a duplicate environment, and that is provided by JVM only. So operating system is another thing, and that environment is another thing. So this was a problem which were faced by the R&D department at that time. So JVM is known as the Java Virtual Machine. Java Virtual Machine. So this at that time JVM came like a superhero. So JVM came like a superhero and made a duplicate environment into RAM. Now this particular JVM is used to make a duplicate environment into the RAM. Okay guys. Now after making that particular environment, we have some interpreter, so we can easily convert the bytecode into the machine code. So actually this JVM is used to occupy the space inside the random access memory. Okay guys, so there are lots of advantages using JVM. So guys, earlier we were restricted to make a new compiler for new operating system or a different operating system. So guys, now advantage of JVM, there are lots of advantage of JVM. Few of them are: easier to make JVM than compiler. If I compare that, what is easier task to make a new compiler or to make a JVM. Then I will go for JVM. JVM is easier to make JVM. And at that time, Sun Microsystem takes all the responsibilities to make Java virtual machine, to make JVM. But there was some problem with between the Sun Microsystem and operating system vendors. So I will discuss you later. Now, what is another advantage of JVM? JVM is less costly, guys. Cost of making JVM is quite cheap as compared to making a compiler. Now the JVM is less time consuming. Of course, time is very much important when we are working on certain requirements. Time is a key factor. So guys, I want to tell you the work of JVM, how this particular JVM works. Now we know that JVM converts the byte code into the machine code. It just like an interpreter. Now we have a Java compiler, we have our byte code. Now this compiler convert my source code into the byte code. Now I require interpreter. So JVM is work as an interpreter. I will explain the main interpreter afterwards, but in the beginning, to make you familiar about these all terms, I am just saying that JVM acting as an interpreter. But guys, JVM is not interpreter. It's just a Java virtual machine, and interpreter actually work with JVM. Okay, with JVM actually. Okay, guys. So guys, Java compiler is unique, independent, but JVM is dependent, guys. We require different JVM APIs for different operating system. Now the 90% of work was done by the Sun Microsystem. Now 10% work have to be done by the vendors of operating system. 10% work. They used to download the JVM API from the net, and they must have to call the features of operating system into these JVM APIs. That was only the task performed by the OS vendors, and that was a quite difficult task for Sun Microsystems, because at that time there was a situation when some of the vendor refuses to provide features to the JVM API. Then after some time, what Sun Microsystem decided that they will do full work. 100% work was done by the Sun Microsystem there itself. Now guys, what they do? Now they decided to this JVM concept, to replace this JVM concept with another concept, that is JRE. Guys, JRE is the Java runtime environment. Now JRE is the combo of JVM plus Java native APIs. Now the 100% work was done by the Sun Microsystem. Now also I am telling you the version of JDK. JDK is the Java development kit. Okay guys, so up to JDK 1.4 JVM was running. Now it still die. Today JVM is die. Now we have JRE. In JRE we have a combo of JVM plus native API, native environment. From JDK 1.5 we were having JRE, Java runtime environment. Now what is JRE actually? JRE is a software which creates runtime environment of Java, and byte code will directly convert into the native environment. Now this byte code will directly convert it into the native environment. Now whole initiative done by the Sun Microsystem, as I told you earlier, and nothing done by the vendors. Now there was no requirement of operating system vendors. Everything was done by the microsystem, Sun microsystem. Now I will explain something about the old programming language. I also tell you most of the time that C language, if I take example of a C language, C language is the language mother of all languages. So the source code is converted with the help of a compiler into the machine code, and that will work on different operating system. But we require different compiler for different operating system. Now, if I take example of a Java compiler, so Java compiler name is Java C. So you should remember the name of compiler. Somebody asks you that what is the name of Java compiler, then you have to tell him or her that compiler name is Java C. Java C is the compiler. We call it as a JVAC, guys. Okay, guys. Now we have a concept bytecode verification. Now, guys, we have to think in our program. There are two parts we should go through when we are where we have write the code. Now we should go through two things: a compilation or execution. Now for that we have some compilation time and we have execution time. Now we are very much familiar that Java source code is converted with the help of Java compiler into the Java bytecode. Now this bytecode is moved. This bytecode is moved through the network or file system towards the class loader. After class loader, we have the bytecode verifier there. Then JIT and JVM work simultaneously actually. Then we have operating system and of course hard disk. So what is this class loader? So when JVM start working, then a sub program of JVM also starts with that. Now the JVM starts and a sub program of JVM also start working with that. Okay, so this particular sub program load the bytecode onto the JVM on that particular virtual environment. So this particular subprogram is used to load that code. So that particular subprogram is nothing but it's a class loader. We called it as a class loader. So there are three type of class loader. We have a system loader, a bootstrap loader, and a extension loader. We will discuss more about the bootstrap and the extension loader in next lectures. So what is a system loader? So here what we are using that particular subprogram, that is a system loader that is used to load the bytecode onto the JVM. Now what is bytecode verifier? That is quite important. So bytecode verifier start working by verify the code. So this bytecode verifier is start working by verifying the code whether it violates the security rules or not. So this particular bytecode verifier is used to verify the code. Either the code is breaking some security rules or not. That's why Java is secure and virus free. This bytecode verifier is also used to also verify the code, and it also destroys some unwanted files. So that's why Java is virus free. Now another term introduced. What is execution engine? So guys, now the execution engine in Java nowadays, we are popular execution engine is the JIT, just in time compiler, but it works as interpreter here. We call this as JIT interpreter. So before JIT we were having silicon or adaptive, but there was some drawback of silicon or adaptive. That's why we switch on to the JIT. So guys, we will go for a quick comparison between silicon or adaptive or JIT, just in time interpreter. So firstly I will discuss about silicon or adaptive. So guys, if we are want to convert a bytecode into the machine code, and we want to use a similar bytecode, similar machine code again and again. If I want to use this machine code 5 times, so I have to convert this bytecode 5 times into the machine code. But this thing not happens with JIT. In JIT there is a concept of cache memory. So what happens actually in JIT, when we convert the that particular byte code into the machine code, it stores a file. It stores that file into the cache. So when we convert, it will keep that particular memory, particular machine code into the cache memory. And when we reconvert that byte code into the machine code, it will not convert. It will convert only once. And if we require it 5 times, 10 times, or 100 times, then this can be used from the cache memory. So this also save our memory. This also makes our code faster. This saves our memory, guys. And performance also increases by this approach. And the performance of silicon or adaptive, it less performance, and of course more time consuming when we were using silicon or adaptive. Now with the help of JIT, more performance, and of course less time consuming. JIT is less time consuming as compared to silicon or adaptive. Now guys, what are the phases that a Java program normally undergoes? What are those phases? That is also important to understand. So guys, there are basically 5 phases. Now the 5 phases, first phase is the edit. Edit means program. We should write the program, or we can edit that, writing the program. Okay guys. After edit we have another phase, that is compile. Compiler creates the byte code from the program. So we have edit option, we have a compile option. Now we should load the code. We have a loader, class loader, which is a system loader that you use to load the byte code in the memory or onto the JVM. So edit, compile, and load. We have understood all the 3. Now the fourth one is the verifier. Verifier ensure whether the byte code do not violate the security requirements. So this verifier is actually do something. It actually verify our byte code whether it violates the security requirements or not. Now we have the fifth one, that is executes. So interpreter translate the byte code into the machine language or into the machine code. So these are the 5 phases: edit, compile, load, verify, and execute. Okay guys, I hope you're doing well, guys. I know that it's a long video, guys, but I hope so that you guys are enjoying it. So you have enjoyed it, I know. So keep on working, guys, and always be motivated to do something in life. Do something that which is very much interesting. Don't be sit on the chair and you have to be very much crazy about the life. We can do more in the life. We can achieve our goal, guys. We can do anything else. Just wake up, guys, wake up. Nothing is impossible. We can do anything. So it's a highly I used to be motivated from you all audience. You all peoples are so much good, yeah. You are so much good. uh, so much good college students and all those who are working somewhere else in some companies. The guys are motivating factors. If we do something in a group, like if we discuss on a problem, that would solve easily. So guys, please like, share, and comment. Like, share, and comment. I hope you would be very much clear about the Java from this video. I will make more videos for you in future. I wish you all the best. Whatever you are doing in your career, I want to wish you all the best for your entire life. Guys, thank you very much. Kindly share, subscribe, and like. Also click on the notification bell over there. Click on for the more videos from my side. Thank you very much, guys.